The extra finish makes it extra expensive. Hey guys, Kakarot197 again. This time with a review of the 1/44 scale high-grade 3 century Marasai Extra Finish version. And yes, it is essentially just a shiny, regular, high-grade Marasai. But man, do these colors look beautiful. I especially love how the orange is now this beautiful shade of bronze, which works really well with the kind of sparkly burgundy. The green has kind of that same sparkle, and then the gray parts have now become a gunmetal gray. But as beautiful as these colors are, there are two big issues with this very nice extra finish. And they all stem from the fact that this extra finish is a coating, meaning that when you cut the parts of the runner, they're gonna leave some really nasty nub marks. Now, at the very least, the colors underneath the parts are still the same color as the regular Marasai. So they're not as obvious, but you can still pick up on them relatively easy. The second problem is that not everywhere the extra finish is as clear. So here we have a very clear color difference between the two parts, especially on the lower arms it's very noticeable, and also kind of on his snout. Combined with the fact that the Marasai does need a few paint applications to be completely color accurate, one could almost say that you might be better off replicating this very nice finish yourself. But that being said, the parts that you do have to paint are really minor, such as these detailings on the arms, and then also some detail on the gun, the main pipeline here, and also the scope. Then as for stickers that we need for the Marasai, we only need metallic green, one for the mono eye, and then one that goes onto the backpack sensor. Other than that, everything is very nicely done. So without further ado, let's have a little showcase about the Marasai's accessories. Let's start off with what's already on the mobile suit, the two very nice and long beam sabers. Now admittedly, they should actually be turned around, but I prefer them this way because you can pull off some really nice poses with this very movable shield. And like this, you can actually have the beam sabers sticking out. Now, if you do it, as you should do it, and you want to put the beam sabers in the hand, unfortunately, you only get a right holding hand. There's no left holding hand or any other kind of holding hand. This open palm hand is all that we're going to get. And to make matters worse, while you can make some really awesome poses with the beam saber and the hand, because the hand is kind of open, at the same time, because the hand is so open, the beam saber is in there extremely loose and will flail around. Although it will not fall out because, well, it's kind of thick on both ends. With the beam sabers back where they should be, let's have a look at the beam rifle. It is really nicely detailed, but doesn't move an inch. The handle here, no movement whatsoever, and the ammo pack also doesn't move. But you know what also doesn't move? The beam rifle in the hand, unlike the beam saber. And thanks to some pretty nice movement in the shoulders, especially for the time, he can hold on to that beam rifle with both hands really well. And finally, let's see how the articulation of a model kit from 2005 holds up today. First of all, the head is on a double joint, a hinge at the bottom, ball joint at the top, some nice forwards and backwards movement, and will also rotate around all the way despite the back of the head being pretty damn big. Also, these Vulcan guns are on round disc-like thingies, but they do not move around. Then the arms will rotate around all the way as well, go up all the way nicely like that, or at least the right arm does, because like I said before, the shield is extremely movable, but not so much the spike shield on the left. And the arms also go forwards all the way very nicely, backwards a little bit. That's one of those features that nowadays would take for a given, but back in the day for model kits, that was actually a really cool feature to have. We'll rotate around below the shoulder. The elbow bends on one joint only. The hands are on ball joints. We'll wiggle around, turn around, and do everything a ball joint does. Then the waist is just a simple peg situation, so it just rotates around a little bit, about that far. The legs will go forward. If you're careful, this feels a little bit tight. Also, unlike modern model kits, you cannot separate this unless you modify it, because there's no thingy in between that will prevent them from just falling out. One really cool thing, something that not even all modern kits have, the back skirts also move out, allowing the legs to go backwards almost as far as they go forwards. What they also do nicely is go out about that far. Also, these upper legs are on a ball joint, so they will also wiggle around a little bit. Then the knees are on 2 joints, but that's about all you're going to get. Yes, they're bulky legs, but still a little bit disappointing. Then again, for the time, not so unexpected. The feet, that's just a simple ball joint situation. Forwards a little bit, backwards a little bit. Will wiggle around, turn around a little bit, and that's your lot. In conclusion, the articulation of the Marasai is rather limited. For the time, it was perfectly serviceable, but it has not aged very well. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And for 2,800 yen, which is double the price of the original, I'm gonna have to go with a no. The big gimmick that this kit has, the extra finish, is simply a letdown. Yes, nub marks are something to be expected with an extra finish model kit that was not made for any kind of coating in mind. But the inconsistency of the color is definitely something that Bandai should have gotten right. So really, there are much better uses for your 2,800 yen, even if it is just buying the regular Marasai and then getting the paint to recreate your own extra finish version. Because the sad thing is, the colors of the extra finish would have been amazing if they were done correctly. And yeah, the Marasai for a 2005 kit has held up relatively well. It comes with most of the things you'd want from a Marasai, minus a left holding hand, because yes, we do get 2 beam sabers and 2 beam saber blades. And while the articulation does make the Marasai a bit of a brick by today's standards, it can definitely still pull off some awesome poses, albeit just not as dynamic as modern kits. But there is a plot twist. Because this thing was sold as a limited edition kit, you can't buy them new anymore, so you have to go to the secondhand market, where they actually regularly sell for around the same price as the regular edition. And for that price, like around 1,300, 1,500 yen-ish, it's suddenly not that bad anymore and definitely makes it a lot easier to deal with those flaws that it has. And from afar, it still looks pretty damn good. And finally, for some size comparisons, here is next to the High Grade Middle Century Gundam Mark II, also the extra finish version, and then the High Grade Middle Century Gundam Unicorn Destroy mode, which is the titanium finish version. And I gotta say, the titanium finish is just absolutely beautiful. Also, the extra finish on the Gundam Mark II is significantly better, or at the very least, the imperfections are significantly less noticeable than those of the Marasai. Then here is next to some allied mobile suits, the High Grade Middle Century Hyzak and the High Grade Middle Century Gundam Mark II Titans version. Or at the very least, the Mark II would have been an ally if a certain something wouldn't have happened. And finally, here he is next to the standard size Gym Custom and the always bulky Zaku 3. While the Marasai might look pretty big and bulky, the Zaku 3 definitely has it beat. And that's all for this video. Have a great day. A big thank you to the Patreon supporters, and I will see you all next time.